I'm Pat Ahern. You're on the way of baseball. The first thing I want to talk to you about in this little series about pitching mechanics is your starting position. How are you going to stand when you get on the mound to pitch, okay? Now, for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to go out of the stretch here. The windup is going to be a little bit easier to just demonstrate once you know how to do it in the stretch. I also like to teach guys to always pitch out of the stretch in practice, because that's when the most important pitches are going to be made on the field. There's always going to be runners on base, a pressure situation when you're in the stretch, so that's where you want to feel the most comfortable. So, speaking of comfort, when you talk about setting up on the mound out of the stretch, you want to set up where you feel comfortable. So that means that your weight is equal on both sides, and there's a little bit of flex in the knees and at the hips. Now that accomplishes a couple of things. The first thing that happens is these big muscles that are going to help give you your power and your velocity are turned on and ready to go. So if you're down a little bit in here in a strong position, these muscles and the muscles in the back are strong and ready to go. So now, when you set up to pitch, I want you to think that you're an athlete. You're an athlete when you're pitching. So you want to look at how other athletes stand and imitate that. So a lot of times I'll see pitchers, they'll stand too tall and too straight up like this when they get ready to pitch. Now you will never see an athlete outside of a pitcher stand like that to get prepared to play. Think about how a boxer would stand. You'd never see him standing really tall like this. You'd see him down in here ready to go. Think about a guy on a surfboard. You'd never see him stand like this. He'd go right over. Okay? If he's on the surfboard, he's down low. Think about a tennis player getting ready for a serve. He's right here, okay? They all feel comfortable. They all have their legs turned on, ready to move. That's how you want to feel when you set up to pitch, okay? So you want to have a little flex and be in a position like you're an athlete, like you feel it, like you can move. Now, one of the things that I do with the young players that I teach is a little test that it's just a tipping test. Basically, it means that I tell them to set up like they normally would, and if they're too tall and too upright, I come over and give them a little push. I try and tip them over. And a lot of times, if they're out of balance or in the wrong position, they'll just go right over. Okay, so when you get on the mound, think if somebody was trying to tip you over and push you, if you were right here, they're not going to move you, okay? You're all set, you're all strong, you're ready to go. All these muscles are ready. That's where you're going to get your power from, your velocity from. So you always want to have a good, strong, athletic stance to begin with your pitching. So when you come set out of the stretch, a little flex, feet are about hip wide. Now you feel strong and ready to go, okay? Now in the next part, we're going to talk a little bit about your first move and how to generate as much power as you can. Okay, I'm Pat Ahern. This is The Way of Baseball.